follow the bottom of the rib cage. You follow it, follow it, follow it until you reach the sternum, and you feel a kind of a transverse ridge there where the sternum ends and the xiphoid process begins. And our patient here today doesn't have much of a xiphoid at all. From this landmark, the xiphy-sternal joint, you have 8 tun to the middle of the navel. Okay. Now we're only going to find 4 points in there today because that's all we need right now. And at home you can practice the ones in between. They're equally spaced. So if you can find these 4 points, you can find all the rest. So from this landmark, if you divide the distance to the navel in half, that's Ren 12. That's the move point of the stomach and the move point of the middle jowl. And a meeting of all 6 zang. Okay, it's the influential point or command point of the 6 zang. Okay, and the idea being this is a place where they all talk to each other and meet and harmonize. Plus the stomach is the king of the bowels, right? If the stomach is in good health and there's plenty of stomach chi, then usually it follows that the intestines will be happy too, and the other zong will be pretty happy too if the stomach is happy. So that's Ren 12. Half the distance from there to the center of the navel, and notice she's got a little wrinkle or crease right here that's pretty close to this point. But you can't go by the creases all the time. Actually, you shouldn't try to. Now you notice there's a crease above my finger here. You might think that Ren 12 is at that crease, but it's not. But it's interesting how often that these creases do end up falling on acupuncture points, but not always. Again, you can't go by that. So half the distance to the navel is Ren 10. The navel is Ren 8. So Ren 8, Ren 10, Ren 12. And halfway in between Ren 12 and Ren 16, Ren 14. That's the move point of the heart. Okay, important point. Now there are other points here, of course, that I don't really want you to find today because of the time factor. But in between 12 and 14 is 13. 13 is a very important point because it corresponds to the cardiac sphincter of the stomach, also called the lower esophageal sphincter, which seals off the top of the stomach and keeps the acid reflux from happening, right? And so this is a real important point for treatment of acid reflux, Ren 13. Ren 11 is a very little used point, but it represents the transformation of, or the extraction of qi from the food. And Ren 10 is the sphincter at the bottom of the stomach. Pyloric sphincter. That's Ren 10. Ren 9, very interesting point. It represents the small intestine's separation of the pure from the impure. So it's a very important point for certain treatments. Okay, so there you got Ren 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 with 6 in between 5 and 7, only half a tun. You've got equally spaced points from 8 to 16. And now you're going to get into the area where Deadman starts talking about 1.3 tun between the point. Forget the 1.3 tun. It has nothing to do with it. All of the Ren points in the chest, as well as those, the points of the kidney channel and the stomach channel in the chest, and the spleen channel in the chest, they all fall on the intercostal spaces between the ribs.